Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
Let me fix my camera there.
Yeah, you never know how it's gonna
How it's gonna. Okay.
like partition itself. Mine's
I know.
also a
I thought
little
I set it
bit.
up, but
I know, yeah, okay. So I think that's okay now-ish. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's been a day of, you know, it's
I
been a
think
long
you're
day.
in Spain, right?
I am in Madrid. Yeah, it's 7:30 here PM here. Hi, all those who are just joining us. Welcome, welcome. I am so glad to see you here. So if you're just joining us or if you're watching this later, introduce yourself, ask questions. If you are joining us later and do have questions and want to send those to Amanda, we'll make sure to send that to her so she can respond. Welcome, everyone. All right, so we're starting to get lots of people joining us here, so I think it is a good time to start. Alrighty, are you ready? Are you good?
I'm ready. Yes.
You're ready. Okay, fantastic. Alrighty. So again, welcome everyone. Excited to have you here. So I'm going to be talking to Amanda. Is it Diaz?
Yes.
Diaz. Okay.
Diaz. Yes.
Diaz. Okay. I'm going to be talking to Amanda Diaz, who's the CEO of FETTCH, which we're going to learn lots about here today. So these founder chats are really an opportunity to have a conversation. They're an opportunity to get to know the founders in our community, as well as like what's going on in their lives and how we can help them essentially. So Amanda, I met virtually at the one of our Toronto women's pitch events back in March, where she pitched there, which was fantastic that I got to know her there. And a little bit about FETTCH, I will let her really dig into it, but a kind of a what my understanding of it is and what I have. If I'm ever looking over here, by the way, I have some notes over here, so I'm just looking over here for that reason, so everybody knows. But so it is a technology company revolutionizing the capabilities of omni-channel retailers. So can you unpack that for us? Let us know, what is FETTCH all about?
Sure. So FETTCH is a technology company. What we've developed is a mobile marketplace that essentially allows local brick and mortar retailers in the city to sell to any shopper in their vicinity and essentially let shoppers in the city purchase anything. So from your electronics to your pharmaceuticals to your clothing, and then have that delivered instantly or within minutes.
Okay, so it's walk me through if I have what downloaded FETTCH or so.
So if you've downloaded FETTCH, so you can go into the app and
Yep.
then, so say you're looking for a new dress, you just look through the stores that we have on our platform, or you look for sales near you, or you search by item specifically, you
Okay.
order it, and then you select a delivery time. So say it's 20 minutes away, it's 20 minutes away, or say you want it delivered at 6 p.m., then that's at 6 p.m.
Okay, so what inspired this particular company? What inspired this business for you? Tell us a little bit about your background as well and how you got to this place of launching FETTCH and where it all began is what I'm asking.
Sure.
Yeah,
So for me, it was up until recently, actually, I was intent on pursuing law. So I was studying at the University of Toronto.
right.
And then I was completing an internship at the same time. It was a period in my life where I was very busy. I was very busy, and all of my peers, all of my colleagues were in the same boat. And one thing that I kept hearing is, I need to purchase X and Y, but I just don't have the time. I remember one colleague saying they had to purchase a calculator and some outfit for one of his engineering events the next day, and he just didn't have the time to go do it. And the reality is, people don't have hours to spend in brick and mortar stores, right?
Right.
So that was one thing I noticed. And then the thing is, with online, I won't do online because I'm not willing to wait for weeks to get something delivered. And as well, there's an incredible waste component with online delivery.
Right.
And the thing is, right, is brick and mortar stores are suffering because you have big box retailers like Amazon that are pushing them out. You hear all the time about the
Right.
death of brick and mortar, and people care, right? People care to connect directly with these brands, with smaller
Yeah.
retailers, with their local retailers. So I thought, okay, there's no solution for these local retailers to get their sales up. I mean, you hear all the time. Recently, JCPenney has gone through bankruptcy. So you
Oh,
hear all the time about this kind of thing. So I thought, all right, there's no real solution for brick and mortar retailers. So I will
right.
create one.
Wow, that's incredible. I feel your passion. So what has that journey been like in terms of when did you start this? How has it gone? Like the pitch that you had in March, was that your first pitch? Kind of where are you right now today in this journey?
So today in this journey, I'll start from the beginning kind of. So what I did was in 2019, I conducted the market testing. I validated my hypothesis. I did all of my research,
Right.
and then I just set out to build it. So early this year is when I found my co-founding team, my incredible CTO and my incredible COO, Vamsi and James.
Yeah.
So we built that. We built our product, and then so between January to now, we've onboarded our retailers, we've waitlisted our users and our product. So FETTCH will launch in about a week.
Wow. Okay.
That's where we're at now.
Right. Okay. So when we connected, I guess it was in April, I reached out asking the community about how has COVID impacted founders in our community, if it has at all. That's kind of how we got reconnected here. And so with everything that's been going on, I mean, it sounds like it seems as though you're in a space that wouldn't have been impacted. I assume that that's the assumption people would have, but I'm really curious to hear what those 3 months have looked like for you, however long it's been, 80 something days since mayhem. How has that been for you?
It feels, it's hard to keep track of time since this pandemic began.
Yeah.
It's been, the thing is, we knew we had to pivot, right? Is people won't be shopping the same way, but one thing we didn't expect is the amount that retailers are really suffering because of COVID-19. I mean, obviously
Right.
everyone has had to shut their doors down, right? But
Yeah.
people are doing curbside now, as well as just delivery within the city, but retailer sales have really gone down.
Yeah.
And on our end, we've just had more retailers come on, and then just, we've been really talking to and listening to them, and their pain points are just, our sales are at an incredible low. It's incredibly hard with delivery now to get products in people's hands, and people want things, right? People want, whether it's their leggings in one case or even their like diapers or things like that, and no one's going to be able to shop the same way for a long time. And that's the reality, right? Is you're not going to be able to try things on in store. You're not going to want to be in a busy store anymore. So then retailers have to pivot. So the feedback we've been getting from our retailers is just that this is the perfect time for this kind of product.
Yeah, okay. So when you're looking into the future, then we often get a lot of questions around the crystal ball. What is your vision for FETTCH? You know, as much as we can do visioning at this point in time, sometimes it's 3 months, sometimes it's 6 months. What's your vision for, let's say, the next year? Where would you see this going?
So in terms of the next year, so FETTCH's vision has always been to be the next marketplace. And that for us means, so we're very focused on product. We currently have a team of 7, and they're mostly engineers. So we are rolling out new features and working on new ones in-house.
Yeah.
So we're currently developing an in-house authentication feature for people who are going to want to purchase pharmaceuticals as well as telecom products. So that kind of thing, we're just finding ways to make FETTCH the most seamless way to shop for anything. It's very easy to be able to purchase apparel, but something like pharmacy requires an incredibly complex technical component and also legal and logistical components. So we're figuring that out. And as well, we're working with a company now that's giving us their patented algorithm for sizing and measurement.
Oh,
so
wow.
Someone that's going to want to like buy clothing is going to be able to essentially use their phone and then have the sensor-based technology size or fit them. So essentially creating the most seamless experience, and then obviously scaling, right? We want to be able to scale to the States. And then as well, we want to really do Asia as well.
Okay. So you are starting in Canada, though, it sounds like.
We're starting in Toronto.
Okay. In Toronto. Okay. Okay. So I see more people have joined us, and I just want to acknowledge you. Thank you so much for being here. Say hello. Let us know where you're joining us from. And if you have any questions for Amanda, please shout those out now too. Thanks again for being here. So we've learned a little bit about the history and why you got into the work that you're doing and what your vision is, and what COVID's been like. Now, I'm also interested to understand, so we know how COVID impacted in the last few months have impacted the business. I'm curious about on a founder level, as a CEO and founder, correct? Yes. How has it been for you, like having to go remote? You have a team of 7. What has that looked like? What's the impact been like? And do you see, with de-escalation now in Toronto, do you see kind of a shift in the way you're going to be doing work at all?
That's a great question.
Totally on the spot.
No, the pandemic has been has been so difficult. And our difficulties are obviously so superficial, but I mean, having Slack, like just communicating primarily through Slack, and then these video meetings, of course it's impersonal. We have members of our team that I haven't even met in person.
Right. Yeah.
So we did all of our hiring without an in-person meeting.
Yeah.
I'll be very grateful when I get to see them in person and then have those meetings in person. I think that's the thing, is everyone is working remotely. It's incredibly impersonal. It's incredibly informal. And I'm someone that really likes formality. I like structure.
Right. Yeah.
As a CEO, it's been difficult. It's been very difficult, but at the same time, I think it's been good in the sense that our employees have more time. I know on their end, they're quite happy. So they just have more time. They get to work from the comfort of their own home, which is nice.
Yeah.
But on my end, it makes me excited to see them in person and for this thing to kind of be over.
Yeah. Yes.
But in terms of de-escalation, things are happening slowly in Toronto. The rest of the province has moved to phase 2, but Toronto has not.
Okay.
But even then, I think for my employees' safety, I think for my co-founder's safety, we will also be slow. And when things feel safe, when things feel settled, I think at that point we'll get in an office and then do this.
Okay. Yeah. So the intent is to be in a physical space together at some point in time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, it's been really difficult for so many people, and like as a fellow founder with a team who I actually have not met at least 2 of my team members in person either. So I feel that, just because I'm in Madrid and they're all in Vancouver though. So it's really interesting building relationships in a virtual space, and then building relationships when there's so much going on in the world and there's so much background everything that's kind of like layering on, right? And so like, how do I take care of my team as well as get to know them as well as get things done?
Exactly.
It's very complicated. Yeah.
I think one thing that I've been hearing from everyone, and one thing I felt, is that you would assume that this would be such a slow time, but everyone's been busier. It seems to be the loudest time. Even though we're all inside, even though we're all kind of stuck, but the world has kept moving.
It really has. Yeah. No, I know it's exhausting. Some days
it feels like, I mean, it's one thing after the other. It just feels like, I mean, it's wild. It's like an incredible paradox to be stuck in one place when everything feels like it's moving faster than ever.
Yeah, yeah. I know we did touch on what's been going on last week a little bit via email, because and that feels like a segue, because last week was supposed to be your IG live, and then on Tuesday, that was Blackout Tuesday, and we were like, you know what? This is not the time. We need, us at Volition, we're like, we need to educate ourselves. We need to figure out who we are in this and who we want to be. I know in talking to you, it was kind of the same experience. And you talked about kind of collective responsibility as well as your team response when we were going back and forth as to what's going on with the uprising, and like things even in the last week and a half or almost, I guess it's been 2 weeks now, have really, every day is different. And I heard about, there's a movement around STEM in academia now, and there's just so much going on, which is totally new to me as of a couple of hours ago.
I haven't even heard about that.
Yeah, it was like to take pause as researchers, to take pause in the STEM and tech kind of industry, and ensure that we are creating space for Black voices within our research, and just to ensure that there is representation in research and in the tech industry, and all these kind of things. It's just, there's so much going on, and I know that we touched on that a little bit, and I'd be curious to hear what your response was as a founder with the team, and in Canada as well, if you're comfortable sharing.
No, absolutely. I think last week it was the best decision. I know in talking to you, it wasn't the time. Last week was about, I mean, that's the thing, right? It's hard because I know, and I think a lot of us know, is it's not our place. It's not our place to speak on these issues, because I just don't have the expertise, and it's my job, and I feel like it's my responsibility to give any platform that I have to people who know more, who are affected directly, and who are able to best educate, and who are the most kind of pained and most affected by everything that's going on. With respect to how things are kind of playing out, it's incredible to see. There are like peaceful protests going on in Toronto, especially over the weekend. There was a big one. People are more mobilized than ever. I think things are really moving forward in a way that I haven't seen. And it's incredible to see. I know on my end, on our company's end, me and my co-founders, we just talked. As soon as everything with George Floyd happened, we just kind of talked and said, okay, how do we feel about this? What's happening? We shared stories. We really, just among the founders first, we took the time to cement ourselves and to just feel things out. And then with our team, we just hopped on a call and we said, okay, how is everyone feeling? Does anyone have any stories to tell, any resources to share? And then we just, in our library channel, because obviously we aren't able to interact in person, we just shared podcasts, we shared books, we shared news, we shared journals, we shared things like that just amongst ourselves, because at this point it's just about educating ourselves. Because the best thing that we can do is be a better ally. So we really stood strong in our stance that we're not experts. We just want to be better, and we want to be allies any way that we can. So we made our contributions in private. But more than anything, I think for every CEO, every corporation, the most important thing is to look internally and be self-critical. Because it's very easy, I think, to point fingers and to think, all right, well, X is happening, I'll just be an ally. But what are the ways in which we're not creating the best environments for our employees? Are we creating environments where even an inkling of racism is allowed? Anything like that. We really do have to be self-critical, and then we just have to use our platforms to improve, to take a strong stance, and to be vocal. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for sharing that. I know it sounds like, I know, because you launched in 2019. So your first year has been full of lots of different kinds of challenges. I don't even know.
No, absolutely.
And because of that, I'm curious about what tips would you have for your peer entrepreneurs who are starting out?
Tips that I have for my peer entrepreneurs. I would say you really have to build it. You really have to build your product. I think it's a good idea to sell anyone on a dream, on an idea. But one thing that's helped me is do your research. Do your research to make sure that you're building something people want.
Yes, please do your research. It doesn't happen enough.
Genuinely do your research. And that's the thing, right, is I came from a background of academia. You have to validate your hypothesis. You really do. So I took genuinely all of the latter part of 2019 to really figure out, is this something that people will use once I build it? And when I figured that out, once you figure that out, you can have the kind of confidence that allows you to say, well, okay, in the face of all the pushback that you're going to get from different people, different advisors, different investors, whomever, you can stand strong on your research, and then just build it. At that point, once you've done your research, just build it, and then they will come, hopefully.
Make it happen. Talk, relationship build. I know it's hard right now, but all those things that's really good advice. I like taking that scientific approach to it. I love that as well. Also science background. So
it's really helped me is I loved school. School was, I genuinely loved school. And I think what did you study?
Health sciences.
Really?
Yeah. So I did population and public health. So this is the world is right now playing out what I learned essentially.
Do you find yourself reading journals or kind of going back into
yeah. And I mean, I research. So and my other hat is that I'm a lead researcher at Women in Tech World, which is a Canadian nonprofit. So we do community-based research, and so my mind is always thinking all along those lines. So I'm always digging into research. I'm always looking at things from that kind of a perspective. Yes, but I loved school as well, valedictorian, super friends with all my teachers and my professors.
Right, exactly. I think it helps as an entrepreneur too. I think I've met some people who school wasn't their favorite thing, but I think as an entrepreneur, if you have that strong background, it really does help.
Yeah, cool. Well, it sounds like it definitely has for everything you've done, and I can see you seem analytical, you take a very analytical approach if you were in law, but analytical and creative, I would think, approach to what you're doing.
Everything, I have a very structured, very analytical.
Yeah, which is very helpful in making strategic decisions. So, awesome, cool, thank you. All right, so I know we're getting into kind of the last few questions. If anyone in the audience wants to ask any questions, let us know, or just say hi, whether you are here with us live or watching this later. Please do let us know if you have any thoughts that you'd like to contribute. So one thing that we always like to ask is, now that we know more about you and about your company and where you're at right now, what is it that we can do as your captive audience right now to support you and your business?
I would say if anyone knows of any retailers in the GTA that's looking to sell on Fetch, they can email me. I think you have my details, or my Instagram will be there and the details are there. So any retailers in the city can apply to be on Fetch. So
Okay.
we're looking for some retailers at the moment. And as well, I would say that's essentially it. We're not looking for much other than, especially, I think as well, anyone who knows retailers that are really struggling. We really do want to help some retailers that are struggling quite a bit. But other than that, there's nothing much. I just hope everyone is staying well.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Okay. So when you said that, it made me think, and forgive me if you already said this, but what is your timeline for getting into new spaces, new markets?
New markets. So we'll be doing 2 Canadian cities by the end of this year. We
Okay.
currently, luckily, have the infrastructure and we have the resources to be able to do that.
Okay.
And so we'll be rolling out quite quickly into Vancouver and Edmonton.
Okay.
And then at that point, we'll be doing the States,
Okay.
which should be towards the middle to the end of next year.
All right. So if people, how can people help you down the road? Like, are you going to Vancouver next?
Oh, that's the thing. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So down the road, if any retailers are in Vancouver, are
Not just
the ones
Toronto,
that,
yeah.
not just Toronto. So anyone who are primarily in clothing and apparel, pharmacy, electronics, as well as beauty and essentials, those are the
Okay.
verticals we're targeting, but we're open to a few others.
Okay.
Please feel free to shoot me an email.
Okay, amazing. All right. So
Yeah.
you heard it here. Not
You've
just
heard it
Toronto.
here.
Toronto's the
Not
most
just
immediate,
Toronto.
but
Yeah,
but also
absolutely.
getting
Down
to
the
Vancouver,
line.
Edmonton, USA in 2021. Always great to kind of have. We often have people asking questions around like, what's your longer term vision? So I want to make sure they remember to touch on that now, because I often get so excited about the present that I forget to ask about that. But
Absolutely.
good to know. Cool. Okay. And a lot of our audience is in Vancouver, so hopefully someone can help and we'll get your ask out there.
Oh, that'd be
We'll
awesome.
we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so I also always like to ask, is there anything that we haven't? I know there was other things that we had talking about. So is there anything that we haven't touched on or talked about yet that you had wanted to talk about?
On my end, there's not much I can think of. I think it will be exciting to see. So Fetch is in the business of helping omnichannel retailers, and omnichannel means retailers that are enabled by technology,
Right.
and that kind of convergence. But I think it'll be exciting to see the kind of trends that take place in the field of omnichannel retail. And I encourage people to keep an eye on that. And I really encourage people to support local retailers, to not elect to buy from your Amazon or to buy cross-border, not just because of the waste aspect, but because local retailers are the ones that are struggling the most. They're the ones with a face to the store, if that makes any sense. So I encourage everyone to really support your local retailers, support your local food retailers, support your local clothing, those little mom and pop shops, to really support your local retailers. I think people can feel good about that. And we're in a space right now where people want to feel better about what they're doing. Obviously, with what's happening with Black Lives Matter and everything, I think people are becoming more aware and self-critical. So I think extending those lessons that we've learned into everything that we do, making conscious purchasing decisions, like into everything that we do, I think is one thing that I would like to say.
Yeah, it's been such a fascinating year from, I think at the beginning of the year, well, I guess 2019, even starting in 2018 when there was Fridays for Futures was coming out, but we kind of had this discussion around buying local for environment, and then COVID happened. It was like buy local to support your local economy and the people in it so they don't go out of business.
Absolutely.
And then the last couple of weeks, like think about who you're buying from more intentionally, and are there who are the local retailers that are owned by Black Black people, by people of color, all these different things. Like think about how you're using your money and therefore investing in the future of your economy and all the things. I think I agree
100%.
with you. People are thinking about this more, which is lovely to see. I come from environmental science, kind of environmental health was what I was most excited about, and I worked in sustainability for a lot, so that was a lot of my mindset. But I'm really liking. I think it's really interesting seeing what impact 2019, 2020 have had so far, and we have no idea what's to come
We
in the
really
rest of
don't.
2020.
If you had
So,
asked me, do you know when this thing started? If you had asked me early December if COVID-19 would have panned out like this, I would have said, no, there's no way. So you really can't tell anymore. You
I
genuinely
know.
can't tell.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess we'll see. So make sure to keep us posted. And how can people get in touch with you best?
So
Think.
best would be email. It would be
Okay.
info@fettch.com, or you can email me directly at Amanda, DIAS, at FETTCH.com, or
Okay.
Instagram would be at GetFetch.
Okay, perfect. So thank you so much. And I do like to ask one last question before we sign off. Because of the world being as it is, I love to know what is one thing in your life right now that brings you joy?
One thing that brings me joy. Honestly, I want to say my friends,
Yeah.
and I want to say my new hires. They
Oh,
genuinely, they bring me joy.
seriously. Like
Like the kind
team.
of the eagerness, the work that's being done. Like genuinely, it's the my point of pride.
Yeah. Yeah. And like just the support again, like I cannot there's so many solo founders out there, solopreneurs or whatever they want to call themselves or whatever they're called. I have so much respect slash I'm like, get someone now because it's like especially like during times like these, it's just like having people who you respect and who you're excited to talk to and who you can have the conversations you were having with, like how are you feeling, what are you going through conversations, like it just
Exactly.
makes a
If I didn't
world of
have my
difference.
co-founders, 100%, it genuinely does. So much respect for solo co-founders, but if I didn't have my co-founders, I would feel, I think, so much more alone. I really appreciate them.
Yeah. Yeah. Here,
Yeah.
here. And you're not the only founder to have said that as well. Just having like co-founders slash team is
Teammates. Yeah.
so, so important right now. Well, always, but, but
A
this is
hundred
just like
percent.
such a, like, they bring me joy. Great. Amazing. Thank you so much, Amanda, for joining us here today. Really appreciate it.
Thank
I'm really
you.
glad I got to know you better. These are such a great, I know it's virtual and we're still, have never met in person, but
No.
I think it's a really great way to get to know some of the founders in our community. And I'm happy that I had this opportunity to talk to you.
Thank you
So
for the
thank you.
opportunity. Really happy to have
Of
been here.
course. Yeah. Cool. Alrighty. So thanks also everyone who are in the audience that came, whether again you're here live or watching later. I'm really happy to have you here, to have your support. Make sure to comment, make sure to say hi. And then also come back next week on Tuesday, where we have another founder chat lined up. They're pretty much every Tuesday. I'm going to be missing one for what's it called? The collision conference, but the at home collision at home, that's what it's called. So on the 23rd we will not have a founder chat, but otherwise it's mostly every week, and they're booked until the end of July, so lots of people to meet, which I'm really excited about, from all over the world, but really great to see a fellow Canadian here today. So thank you all again, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, how do we do that?